have to try to not fall into the trap of trying to be the best. That means trying to sell, quote unquote, the best jelly or the best eggs. Because there's always someone who could be better than you, because being the best is completely subjective. If you've ever been to a potluck, you've probably had like the best potato salad brought by somebody.
A lot of times.
And it's totally different each time you go to a potluck. Each person brings something completely different to the table, but that's the best to them. Sometimes it has raisins, sometimes it has pickles, right? You never really know what you're going to get.
A surprise potato salad.
So trying to sell your unique value as the best is not very descriptive, because they don't really know what they're going to get. What's the special, unique thing that they're going to get out of your product? They don't really know. And someone might have a better location or a faster turnaround time, or even suddenly have a higher quality product, and then you have to go back to the drawing board to figure out how to increase the quality of your product or add more and more and more. Or you can focus on being different and serving a very specific need that someone has in your community. This can be a lot of different things, but mostly what we're talking about is solving people's problems, wants, or needs. So
That's becoming the best to your ideal customer, whereas being the best to everyone, it spreads you so thin that it becomes generic and not the best to really anyone.
What was the first one you said? Solving your customers' something, wants, and needs.
So problems, wants, and needs. Those are kind of the three main areas that you can focus on. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or ask me to wait so you can write notes.
We're flexible.
This is totally like chill. I'm really enjoying talking to you guys about this stuff. I'm actually really passionate about helping people to expand their homesteads, because honestly, being able to, all of us being self-sustained and then being able to sustain each other in that way in all the different communities we have is such an important thing. And I'm coming from a background of really living in small towns and mostly agricultural areas. I really see how it's important to keep this heritage that we have in America of farms and homesteading and all of that, and kind of relearning some of these skills for myself, you know, canning, sewing, things like that I want to relearn, right? And so I'm passionate about this information because I really think that it can make a difference for you guys. And so if you guys have any questions,
We want this to be super clear.
and I want you guys to actually get something out of it. So
Yeah,
if there's ever a point
We
where
want you to leave and have something you didn't have before you walked in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a little more analytical perspective to this. So if we split ourselves up into 10 items, and we say we're going to do the best on these 10 items, we get this much effort into each of those items. So if we apply this to packaging, someone could spend a little bit of their effort in the packaging, a little bit on a quick thank you note, a little bit on a bubble wrap that keeps it safe, and they might, 10 things. That's going to be a lot of things, and that's going to be, budget-wise, they're going to have to split that up to each item. But what happens when they just pick 3 things? So that's 33 or more % of their effort in those 3 things. That means over-delivering on those 3 things. And when you have an ideal customer, that means you can narrow down the things that you're focusing your effort on. And you can narrow it down to 3 things you can easily over-deliver on without burning out.
So, this is what I like to call the Etsy effect. If you've ever ordered something off of Etsy, you probably received an item that was packaged with care. It had tissue paper and ribbons, or a thank you note from the artisan, maybe a coupon for 10% off at their store, or a product sample. This is a really delightful product experience, and this is something that you can actually bring to your homestead, because joy and delight are emotions that are going to help people remember your product and want to purchase it over other people's product, because you delighted them with your product. And everybody's going to have a different opinion on what that is. There's the industrial farmer is going to think other things are more valuable than the busy homemaker. So maybe the busy homemaker is going to care that you delivered the eggs to her front porch. We are going to be talking about specifically providing the value that your ideal customers care about. So once you figure out who they are, you can figure out what their challenges, their problems, their needs are. You're going to be able to figure out where they hang out online, what their style preferences are, so that you can actually customize your branding to actually attract them to your homestead specifically. And most importantly, what is going to delight them when you deliver your product to them or when you provide them with that value that they care about. Like I said, this can be price for a superior product. So you don't have to like lower your price to be the best price in the whole valley for your product. But if you're providing organic free-range eggs, maybe you provide the best price for organic free-range eggs in your community. So whatever value that you're providing, you can provide convenience, delivery, a recipe card, like I said, having to have reusable egg cartons, personality, and this is also personality, philosophy, and the way that you are running your homestead, appealing to them and who they want to be and who they want to align themselves with. Yes.
One of the things that I found out too is if you can get people connected to your animals, if you're selling those products, especially eggs, so if you have pictures of your animals, or you collecting the eggs and stuff like that, then it's that visceral feeling that they have of like, oh, I can live my life through you.
Well, and it's not.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree
Me
with
and
that.
other people know this is different than, maybe if I go somewhere with a big bag product, it's going to be different than when I'm seeing these like personal, well-kept animals. That means something to me. So that's a
That
personal
have
connection.
names. These
Exactly.
are eggs from
Exactly.
Ethel.
And that
Right.
actually appeals
Exactly.
to me
Yeah.
personally. And that's and a lot of people might say, I sell eggs. How could I have a unique difference? Eggs are eggs. And it's like, yeah, well, eggs can be quiche. It can be homemade quiche. It could be eggs. It could be the packaging. It doesn't always have to be just eggs. Even the chicken farmers might buy quiche because
Yeah, they don't have time. Maybe they don't have time to make
maybe
quiche.
they don't have the best recipe.
Yeah. So taking the resources that you have and transforming it into another product, which is I think something that repurposing is something that kind of is like part of being on a homestead. I know anytime that we are like taking down the weeds on a new piece of property, we're like fencing.
Yes, we are fine.
We got and then another time it'll be
Something
like
ceramic, wait.
yeah,
No, take the weed whack away.
little brush, like archaeology, right? But we want to reuse these resources, and so just kind of taking that approach to any of the resources you have that you want to sell or barter with anyone of like, okay, how can I turn this into something that other people are going to find really valuable?
Well, it doesn't mean reinventing yourself too. You don't have, because if you take a hard look at what you already provide, there's probably some seeds already of these unique differences you have. It's just emphasizing on them.
Mm-hmm.
And, picking one of these or, emphasizing on something specifically to attract people in the door. I want to narrow down just to one thing to really clearly emphasize this point, and that's that at our first stop, the ideal customer in mind, we're just going to say, because really at that antique store, they had like, how many ideal customers, really? That they were slightly delivering on all of them, but we're just going to take a look at the tea enthusiast. And this is what they were able to deliver for the tea enthusiast.
Yeah.
And that was not much. It wasn't very memorable, and there wasn't much, again, occasion to come back. They could have had good tea, but this, it makes a big difference. So we want to look at, if you're already providing tea, how can you present that? How can you put in the effort in the areas that person cares about? So if that antique shop wanted to upgrade, their foot traffic, they would emphasize and invest in that section of their store, and they would drop some of the other ones that didn't fit as well. And they create a kind of clear narrative. That person comes in and they think immediately, I can place this in my head. I know why to come back. I know what the occasion is.
So how do you figure out what matters to people? You have to build a relationship with them. You have to start building friendships with your customers and your potential customers. One of the best ways to do this is through considerate marketing, where you're actually talking to them about things that they care about, and you're building up that relationship. You're talking to them, having a conversation with them. This works a whole lot better than that one-size-fits-all, high-pressure marketing that kind of is inconsiderate to everybody.
Yelling
and it's
at
just,
everyone.
yeah, it's just yelling at everyone and trying to pressure them into buying something. It's like, quick, it's gonna go. It's like, it's an egg. There's going to be one tomorrow. There's going to be one the next day. Unless a fox comes, in which case there'll still be other eggs. It'll just take a little while to get back into the swing of things. But the point I'm trying to make is that building relationships with people online is going to help you build that community, the same community that you have in your neighborhood, in your area, with the people around you.
And this has been around for a long time. People have been communicating with word of mouth and relationships and earning people's trust far before we had the internet to just yell at everyone. So, just because we have the ability to broadcast to everyone, it doesn't mean it's necessarily worth our while or that impactful to people.
And with considerate marketing, you don't have to worry about that feeling you get when you're feeling like you're selling to somebody and you're like, oh, I don't feel great about this. I feel like a used car salesman. You don't have to worry about that. Because if you're having a conversation with one of your friends and they're like, I'm having such the hardest time of finding this very specific type of radish that I need for this recipe, and you're like, I have those radishes. Do you want to trade or do you want to buy some? They're going to be like, oh, thank goodness, that's great, that's amazing. They're not going to feel like, why are you selling to me?
And in fact,
They're going to be like, well, that's great, I need those. And so that's considerate marketing. You're actually providing them what they need and a solution to their problem, so they're actually going to feel like you're their friend, you're helping them, because you are.
Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope some of the information was helpful for you. If you are looking to grow your rural business, we can help you to discover your ideal customer, define your signature product, and uncover your unique advantage. We make it really simple with easy to answer questions and worksheets you can complete in between your homestead chores. This 3-month course is only $47. Click the link in the description to sign up today.